Mill-ġdid programm ieħor il-Missjoni Hawn. Ħanibda daqsxejn. Kontu tafu bejn wieħed u ieħor kemm hawn missjonarji minn pajjiżi differenti mod speċjali fl-Afrika, fl-Asja u mis-South America li qegħdin jagħmlu xogħol hawn Malta llum għandna l-missjonarji hawn Malta bejn wieħed u ieħor għax dejjem jiżdiedu qegħdin hawn ma' 70 persuna assis soru jew patri li qed jagħmlu xogħol missjonarju hawn Malta. U propju dan il-programm huwa biex inlaqgħukom ma' wħud minnhom. Din is-sena Missjo qed tiċċelebra il-100 sena mill-ġurnata missjonarja. 100 sena ilu ġiet waqfa tibda tiġi ċċelebrata l-ġurnata missjonarja dejjem tiġi fit-tielet ħadd ta' Ottubru u din is-sena propju qed niċċelebraw il-100 sena minn meta bdiet tiġi ċċelebrata. U aħna fuq l-inizjattiva anke ta' Missjo, produzzjoni ta' Missjo, qed inlaqgħukom ma' missjonarji li qegħdin jagħmlu xogħol f'Malta. Aħna għandna ħafna missjonarji li għadhom jaħdmu barra minn xtutna, kien hemm ħafna iktar fil-passat imma għad hemm ħafna qed jonqsu imma għadna nibagħtu missjonarji. Għandna missjonarji anke żgħażagħ li qed jagħmlu xogħol fil-missjoni, propju fuq wieħed mill-programmi intqajna ma' missjonarju li ġej miċ-Ċili, Fader Mark Poli, hawnhekk insellimlu għandna l-Fader Don Anton li qed il-Gwatemala ħankunu qed nitkellmu miegħu ukoll f'wieħed mill-programmi tal-missjoni tal-missjonarji u ħafna oħrajn. Però dan il-programm huwa intiż biex aħna nintaqgħu ma' missjonarji li qegħdin hawn Malta, mhux missjonarji Maltin li qed jaħdmu barra minn Malta. U propju illum ħankomplu fil-kontinent tal-Afrika, ħamorru fil-punent d-darba tal-Afrika u ħanintaqgħu ma' missjonarju li qed Malta, Fader Fidelis, li ġej minn Nigeria. So welcome to our program, Father Fidelis.
Thank you, Robert.
You've been in Malta for some months now and you are studying in Malta and you became a priest approximately 2 years
5 years
5 years ago.
Yeah, 5 years ago.
But you are continuing your studies, your theological studies in Malta. And I just mentioned that you come from west of Africa, from Nigeria.
Nigeria, yes.
A place, a country with 220 million people.
True.
For us, when we mention millions, it's a big, big thing because in Malta we have only 500,000 people, although increasing, but we have a very limited space to accommodate people. So yes, when we mention that countries like having 220 million, it's a very, very big place. I also need to mention that there are hundreds of ethnical groups in Nigeria.
Yes.
And one thing that amazed me when I was doing some research about Nigeria, Nigeria have 500 different languages. And for me, in a country with 500 different languages, in Malta we have only 2 languages and official languages, Maltese and English. We have some dialect in some rural areas, but having 500
About 500?
about 500 different languages, it's a lot. But obviously, English language is the national language.
True.
So, Father Fidelis, 32 years of age. How was your childhood? Maybe you tell us about your family and how you was brought up as a child.
Okay, I was born on the 3rd of October, 1993, in a family of 5, about 4 boys and the last one a girl.
Okay. And you're which one?
The third.
The third. So you're in the middle, exactly
the middle.
In the middle
Exactly
of the 5.
Middle, yes, yes.
Okay.
I mean, it's a very nice family, very religious. And my father believes so much in Catholic education. And that's why he sent all of us to a Catholic school. All of us, except one, of course. He sent us to the Catholic school. And 3 of us to seminary.
Okay.
And because of that, we are 2 priests in the home.
You are 2 priests?
Yes, my elder brother and I, Father Bernard.
So your brother became priest before
me, yes, yes.
And the other brothers, and sister, they are married? Or they are still young?
2 are married, 1 is still single.
Single,
Yeah.
staying at home?
Yes, staying at home and doing some jobs, you know.
Okay, you are five brothers and sister and one sister. Obviously, you grew up like together as
yes,
children.
yes, yes.
How you used to play? How do you used to? What kind of games do you do, or toys do you have to play with?
Back home, the toys we have was basically football.
Football. And you used to do?
Oh, we played lots of football as children. Even the girl too.
When I was in Africa and different places, I used to see children picking up pieces from outside, you know, rubbish.
Yes.
And form these these balls.
Round ball, yeah.
You used to do the same.
Of course, we used to with rubber, with leather, you know, anything you can lay your hands on. Most times, even you know, harmful objects like the iron and copper, you mold that into a ball and begin to kick it around.
And you used to play with those?
Yes, we used to play with those because most times you can't, as children, you can't afford to buy the ball, and your parents can't buy that because of, you know, priority in expenses. So you have to make do of what you have.
Very interesting.
Yes, yes.
And what about fields? You used to play outside in the fields? Yes,
coming from a place where we have massive landmass, the field wasn't the problem. And everywhere for us, since everything was football, everywhere was also a field. In the church, on the road, in schools, anywhere you find space, it becomes for you, you know, a Stamford Bridge for you.
What do you remember from your childhood, most difficult episodes that you had?
The difficult times we had as children was basically due to lack of infrastructure. Because you see, having been a mortar and with how things are going, having to on the tap and water comes out and, you know, switch on the light and you have light. It wasn't that way while growing up.
So you grew up in a rural area?
Yes, we grew up in a semi-urban.
Semi-urban.
Semi-urban, yes.
And to go to school?
To go to school, you basically have to walk more than 40 minutes, you know?
40 minutes?
Yes.
Every day?
Every day, coming and going. And for us, it was fun.
And you mentioned that it was a very difficult period also because lack of water. Tell us a bit, how can a person live without the water? Without water?
It's difficult. It's difficult. Of course,
we cannot imagine because, as you said, in the morning we wake up, we open the tap, we brush our teeth, our face, and all the time we have water. We are surrounded, you know. How do you manage, or how did you manage to get water, for example, to have some water?
Yeah, you know, you can't live without water as human beings because you use it for basically everything. But the difference is that you have to go extra mile to get it since it wasn't always available. Most times you use the truck to go distances in gallons and fill that up. Most times you use a piece of cloth to, you know, on your head and use the gallon and carry the water.
And walk with that.
Oh, you walk with that.
So as a child you used to do that as well?
Yes, yes. That was our job at home, you know. You have to get the water for mom, for dad, and you know, for
so you can do the washing, you can use it for everything.
Everything, yes.
Were there any boreholes nearby?
There were boreholes nearby, but most times it's just one borehole, you know, being used by so many people. So there's always a queue, you know, first come, first serve, you know, fighting and squads to get the water.
So a lot of children.
Oh, lots of children, yes, yes.
But I know, but we cannot imagine this because obviously when I was young, we had some difficulties as well. Sometimes we used to open the tap without the water when I was young, but nowadays not anymore. So we cannot imagine this. But I think for young children living in that country was also not just a challenge, but also like a game going to fetch water, yes. Meeting other people, etc. But it's still a big challenge, you know, because as you said.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so regarding school, you started school. You went to primary school and secondary school. How is in Nigeria? I never interviewed a person, a missionary in this program from Nigeria, so I will be asking you some questions about it. How is this school formed there?
Well, in Nigeria, we have the nursery school.
The nursery?
Nursery school.
Okay, you have from such a young age?
Nursery school. Then we have the primary school, secondary, and the higher education. But you know, with how things are in the world today, we now have a kindergartens around, you know. But for me, there wasn't such then, or I wasn't put in one then. I wouldn't know. Okay. But I know, I remember going to a nursery school in Aba, you know, a place called Aba in Nigeria, going to, you know, to school there. And then after some years in primary school, my father said that now it's time for, you know, secondary school. Sorry. And he put me in the junior seminary back home.
Okay, and you had to go every day, or it was a residential?
No, it was, you know, a boarding school there.
A boarding school?
It was a boarding school, yes.
Ricardo, during some research that we did, we noticed that in 75% in the semi-urban and rural areas it's a poverty area. Lives under the poverty line. For a family, how they used to have something to eat? Obviously, we mentioned water. You cannot live without water, but also food is very important. How a person in a rural area can live? Do they have any farms attached to the houses? How is the normal life there?
Yeah,
if we can say it's normal.
Yes, yes. Nigeria is a country that has more than 60% living not just in poverty, but in multi-dimensional poverty. That means they have no access to good food.
So extreme poverty.
Yeah, multi-dimensional.
And you said 60%.
So
out of those 75%, 60% they live in extreme poverty.
Extreme poverty, yeah. You know, no access to proper education. And when you are sick, you can't go to the hospital because either you can't afford it or there are no, you know, good equipment there in the hospital. And then for us, how we manage to survive, most times you really have to live hand to mouth, you know. Whatever you're able to get in a week or in a month or in a day, you live with it. And then we also had to go into, you know, farming, agriculture, using the land we have around. But there's little or much you can do because you only plant what you have to eat, and that's it.
Okay. So agriculture is very common in Nigeria.
Yes, it is. It is a lifesaver. I would say it's a lifesaver.
Okay, you started primary and you went to secondary. Are there any events that really touched you when you were studying? Can you tell us?
Yes, I went to a missionary school. Like I did tell you, my father was always in love with Catholic education.
So he wanted you to...
Yeah. So there in the, you know, schools we had attended, we always had priests and their sisters around. And what really touched me while growing up was the hunger for education. When you see someone who is, you know, very educated talk to you, and someone who is not, you always see the difference. Mm. And so when you encounter in class a teacher who is, you know, so versed in knowledge, you want to be like him, yes. And that also inspired me in a way to become a priest, because most times being in a Catholic school, we often had priests for teachers, okay? So when you see a priest, priests are often very, you know, smart, you know, because of years of training. Now, when you encounter a priest in the classroom teaching you one thing or the other, you want to be like him. And in becoming like him, not just smart, now you end up becoming a priest too.
Nfakkarkom li qed nintaqgħu ma' Father Fidelis, qed niskopru ftit il-ħajja ta' Father Fidelis li jataw Malta jistudja għandu sentejn jistudja teoloġija biex jerġa' jmur in-Niġerja jaħdem fil-komunità tiegħu ħansiru nafuh ftit iktar. Ma l-iktar ħaġa l-interessatni din il-ħaġa li għadu kif qalissa li kien ħares lejn il-qassisin għax u kien imur anki missieru kien ħafna xtaqhom li imorru fi skola kattolika u meta kienu għedin hemm kien jara l-qassisin li kienu jafu talmu, kienu intelligenti ħafna u dik aspiratu li jekk speċi li xtaq isir wieħed minnhom, xtaq isir bħalhom, xtaq isir ikun jista' jagħti wkoll il-kontribut tiegħu kemm fl-edukazzjoni u kemm lis-soċjetà. I was explaining a bit in Maltese what you just said because it really struck me what you just said that priests, you look at priests, up at priests and you wanted to become a priest because you saw these people that they are intelligent, smart and they help other people. So you wanted to do that mission and you took it very seriously and you became a priest. So when secondary usually it was around 12, 13, 14 years old. Yeah, you moved to a secondary school.
Yeah, I had an early start to secondary school. I think I entered the secondary school before my 10th birthday.
So you went early, very early.
Yes, early start, yes.
So you had enough education and you had enough subjects that you can start your secondary school. Yes. So times pass. How did you hear the call for your vocation, that you would become a priest? Okay, you saw priest and you wanted, or you at least wanted to become one. But when you really felt that God is calling you to become a priest?
I think I was already in the seminary before I felt the desire to be a priest.
It was secondary school?
I was already there. In the seminary before I felt the desire to be a priest. Because earlier, before now, it was like a promotion from the first year to the second year. But it took some time before I said, wow, I'm getting very close to the priesthood. Do I really want to become a priest? And what also helped was my brother, Fra Bernard, who is ahead of me in information. So seeing him and being inspired by him, just like in the Bible, Andrew saw Jesus and then took his younger brother Peter to Jesus. So that was the same way for me.
So you mentioned Andrew brought people, so your brother brought you.
Yes.
But
yes.
you will become our next pope then. So I was just teasing you. Listen, you heard the call from Jesus, from God, and what you did after that. So
yeah, after being convinced daily that I would like to, really embrace this life or this calling of being a priest. I wasn't unaware of its challenges. The priesthood has its own challenges. I wasn't unaware, but I come from a diocese where we have very remarkable priests who are very remarkable in lifestyle, holistic well-being. Priests who are very smart, who are very loving and kind, and encouraging the young. So, looking at them and having them as an example, I was able to really embrace the call and say, yes, I can do this too.
And at what age you started your studies to become a priest and seminarian?
For me, I began from the junior seminary, and it was before my 10th birthday.
So you started immediately?
Yes.
And it took you how many years for formation?
Well, I would say it took more than 15 years for formation. Adding the years in the junior seminary, and then after this secondary school, I took a break for a year before
the normal break.
Yes, before I continued. Yes.
And you during that year you stayed in Nigeria or you went?
Yes, during that year, I tried to to do something else, I took in Nigeria there is an exam we call JAMB. Like it's an exam, an entrance exam to enter the higher institution.
Okay.
So I took that, and I was able to get admission in a couple of high institutions in the country, but I still felt that I'll become happier as a priest than something
And then
else.
after the year,
So I had to
drop
that and
move again. How your parents took this, your decision that you to become a priest? They were, obviously your father, as you said, he was always encouraging you, and they were really doing everything for you to be good Catholics. But how did they perceive, how did they take this decision you took?
Yes, I come from a family where you can be whatever you want to be, except a criminal, of course.
I hope so. I hope so.
So when I told them that I want to be a priest, for them it was something huge, because my brother was already almost a priest before I made a decision. So it was something huge for them.
So it was a natural thing.
Yes, yes,
them.
yes.
They were happy for that.
Yeah, not natural, because back home it's not common to have two brothers becoming priests back
in a
home,
family.
yes, in a family. Yes, so for them it was like, okay, you are free.
That's good. That's good. So time passed. You became a priest. Maybe also we have some pictures showing us your first. Here is you giving mass in a rural area.
Yes, yes.
They are. It's quite. It's not so common that we see pictures of masses outside. Usually, in Malta we have these big churches, and in every corner we have a chapel. So usually we use one of these churches or chapel. But you obviously had to travel a lot, and also we have some footage. Because when you became a priest, you were assigned in a semi-urban rural village. But we were discussing this, and here also is another photo. And you mentioned to me that this is after Mass,
Yes, this is after Mass,
So
yes.
these are families that were at the Mass. So this is in a rural area, and behind you is a mission station that it's used as a Mass.
Yes.
How important are mission stations in Nigeria?
Well, they are very important because...
Before you mention this is another one, another mission station, and we were discussing this because you go there regularly to give Mass, and it's been like this in ruins for some years.
I'm sure even before I was born, it was been like that.
And it's still like that.
Yes, yes.
But it's still very important landmark for the rural community, because here, this mission station gives a service like Mass, people meet there. So how important are mission stations for priests like you and the rural areas?
The mission places like that is very important for someone who understands the need to evangelize and how important to do that in the rural areas. And I had the fortune of being sent to a very rural village before coming to Malta. So I thank God and my bishop for that, because being there a year taught me more than I was taught all the years in the seminary and the earlier part of my priesthood.
From the people there.
From the people, how they are ready to worship God even in the midst of their excruciating poverty, how they come out, and how even though the churches have no roof, they are there. The sun shines on them, the rain pours on them, they are there. And such places, for me, becomes the nursery for vocations in the church and for grassroots evangelization, such places. So you can't take that away from such places. No matter even though when you go there, there are so much hunger, poverty, lack of, and most times you can't even go there often, because the church, even though the church is one, but the church in every place looks like the place where it is. Okay, in Europe, where we have so much freedom, and the church also takes that shape. And in Africa, where we have hunger, poverty in most places, the churches there also take such face too. So most times the priests can't even afford to go. It's like every Sunday there we go for up to 4 masses, like going from
rural areas to
another rural areas.
Difficult transportation.
Oh, difficult transportations, and then most times you have to continue the journey on foot because maybe the petrol finishes from the car, the jeep, so you have to continue on foot with the other servers, behind you and carrying the mass bus. So it was fun.
Kif qed tisimgħu lil Father Fidelis qed jispjega ftit u din anki dil-aħħar biċċa li smajna kemm hija l-importanti għal mission station aħna ħafna drabi nagħmlu attivitajiet biex niġbru flus anke biex nagħmlu mission stations u kemm hija importanti għall-evangelizzazzjoni għall-qassis il-mission stations f'post remot il-bot li ħafna drabi laqqas il-karozza ma tasal jew għax taqaflu l-petrol inkella it-triq ikollu jieqaf u jimxi għal ammont ta' ħin ieħor biex jasal il-mission station imma kemm hija importanti għall-komunità u l-iktar ħaġa l-impressjonatni wkoll kienet qal li l-iktar li tgħallem għalkemm għamel 15-il sena l-vokazzjoni tiegħu sakemm laħaq qassis tgħallem ħafna l-iktar li tgħallem huwa minn nies f'daw il-postijiet rurali meta tagħmel sena li l-isqof bagħtu f'post remot ħafna post fqir biex ikun jista' jservi ta' qassis kemm tgħallem minn għand dawn in-nies għall-aġġ kbir li għandhom għall-evangelizzazzjoni, għall-aġġ kbir li għandhom biex jisimgħu il-kelma ta' Kristu. Here we are moved to see a bit the video that you sent us to show. Maybe you can tell us, because you don't just do things related to parish, to the parish. You also do other things, trying to help people. For example, here distributing of food. Maybe you tell us a little bit about this video and what we are seeing right now.
Yes, this video is an answer to Christ's instruction to his disciples. You give them something to eat yourself. When he told his disciples, give them something to eat yourself. And that's what we do back home. Back home, the church for us is not just where you come and celebrate the mass and preach and go. No, you also have to live out this preaching such that once in a while, maybe every year, Christmas, Easter, and all that, you call the people together and prepare a meal for them. And in that way too, you show them about this love that you preach every day. And that for us is also historical, because when the good news was brought to Africa, to Nigeria especially, those who brought the Irish missionaries who brought the good news didn't come with just the Bible and the missal. They came with medicines, they came with food, they came with books for school. So the church in Africa took that same pattern of not just preaching with the Bible alone, but you have to also give the people something to. You have to feed them sometimes, and also have to provide basic education for them. So most times we interchange. The video you see there, I have a colleague back home, so most times we often interchange. I go to his place.
Oh, this is another place.
Yes,
then.
yes. I go to his place, and he also comes to mine, and we carry out these apostolates together.
So together, two priests from different dioceses, from the same diocese but in different places.
Different dioceses.
Again, so it's quite big then.
Yes, yes.
So you travel and help each other to distribute food and help people in very poor communities. What I have noticed as well that, this is always our way forward, and always we say that we don't only help Catholic people, but also Muslim, but also other denominations. So, because I've noticed there also helping you distributing feed, there were some Muslim ladies as well. So this is the good news, to give to everybody, because everybody is a child of God.
Of course, and hunger doesn't know who is a Catholic and who is a Muslim. Once you're hungry, of course you're hungry.
Yes. Father Fidelis, thank you very much. you've been with us for this program, Time Flies, so we've been already discussing. Nfakkarkom li kontu qed tisimgħu programmi ieħor taraw tisimgħu programmi ieħor mtella minn Missjoni Malta, Missjoni Hawn. Darba hawn missjonarju li għad f'Malta mhux biex jaħdem hawn Malta imma biex jistudja teoloġija għal sentej l-Università ta' Malta li mbagħad jerġa' jmur lura f'pajjiżu jerġa' jmur f'post minn dak il-filmat li għadna kif rajna biex ikompli jaqdi xogħlu mal-ifqar fost il-fqar. Dak li tagħmel Missjo smajna anki l-affarijiet li aħna nagħmlu għal xi huma importanti semma l-ilma, it-traġitt li jrid jagħmel għall-ilma, però l-iktar li hu tkellem fuq il-mission station jew il-kappella, il-post fejn komunitajiet sħaħ, rurali, ħafna l-bot minn xulxin, jiġu jaqdu dmirhom u jagħmlu x-xogħol tagħhom hemmhekk biex ikomplu jservu lill-ifqar fost il-fqar. Jiena nirringrazzjakom li kontu għal-programm ieħor magħna imtella minn Missjoni Malta, Missjoni Hawn. Insellmilkom.